I see Miss Varsha and Miss Trusha, who took the session very well, warm-up exercises.
Thank you.
So yeah, so I just like to share my screen with you all. And am I audible, Mr. Varsha ji?
Yeah.
Am I audible? Yeah. Okay. So it's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, you're right.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's good to be back
Yes,
and
yes, you're
good
very
to
much
be
audible.
back with. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So it's good to be back. It's good to be with members of TAARE Social. You have always shown a lot of interest, and you have also whatever sessions I have taken, you have paid a lot of attention, and you have always supported me. So thank you very much for that. And today we are going to take a new topic, and I am going to share some of the research findings. A lot of articles are there. People in Western countries are talking about it a lot. There are a lot of interventions which are happening by the governments. So we'll talk about this topic, and I hope that we are able to cover it. Otherwise, then I will have to ask Mr. Saleh to keep another session in case we are not able to finish the session, because there is just so much information, and I'd like to share as much information as possible with all of you. Okay, now can I share my screen? Okay, now is it visible? Varshaji, is it visible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes,
No
it's
problem.
visible.
Yes.
Yes, Amrita.
Yes,
You'll have to put it on presentation mode.
Okay. The one thing is, once I put it on presentation mode, the only disadvantage is I'm not able to see anyone. So that is the only problem. But that's okay. I think it's more. Okay. So basically, this is regarding loneliness. As I told you, a lot of research has been done. And recently, you might have read that the UK, basically, there was a, news article in the papers which said that around 9 lakh people in Britain were either regularly.
They're showing us the first slide.
Which slide? This is the first slide.
The title slide only is on.
Yeah, this is the title slide, ma'am. Yeah. So as I was saying that loneliness is basically there was a lot of talk about it because Britain basically said that they had around, can't hear, that they had around 9 lakh people who were
A
either
little
feeling
loudly,
somewhat
Amruta. A
lonely.
little loudly, Amruta. Can't hear.
Okay, okay. So they were either
Yes.
feeling somewhat, yeah, better.
Yes,
Yeah,
better.
better, huh?
Okay, okay. So they were feeling either somewhat lonely or maybe lonely most of the time. And loneliness was a big problem, especially in the UK, and it had gone to such an extent where they had to appoint a minister, especially for loneliness, and that was very much in the news. Okay, and maybe if this problem would not have been there in India, maybe we would not have talked about it, and we would have said that this is a foreign problem, this is a Western problem, we don't need to talk much about it because loneliness is not a problem in India. But that is not the case. Recently, I think in 2018, a survey was done by Agewell Foundation in which around 15,000 older adults were
Yes.
surveyed. And in that study,
હવે
sorry,
આ બહુ ઝાકું આવે છે આજે.
yeah, so this study was done by Agewell Foundation with around 15,000 older adults in mostly urban cities, and it was found that 1 out of 2 older adults are feeling lonely. Okay, and every fifth older adult needs some kind of psychological counseling. Okay, so this is a problem that we are facing in India also, in urban cities also, in rural places also. And I mean, all over the world now, loneliness has been termed as a loneliness epidemic. Okay, so basically, what do we mean by epidemic? It is a problem that a huge number of people are facing all over the world. Okay, and what have researchers said about it? Okay, so what are the symptoms? What are the causes? What are the interventions which have been made? How can we overcome loneliness? Is something that we are going to talk about. Okay, so I think I must have, mentioned this lady's name. Her name is Dr. Linda Fried. And Linda Fried is a very, very well known geriatrician, a global leader in the field of epidemiology and geriatrics. And she has written a lot of, articles related to older adults. And whenever people used to come saying that they felt lonely, or they felt that there was no meaning in their life, a lot of older adults used to come. Although she was a geriatrician, they used to come to her with medical problems, but this geriatrician used to tell them that whatever your problems are, she used to give them a prescription. She used to give them a paper, and doctors generally write medicines on that prescription. But what did Dr. Linda Fry do? She wrote a prescription asking older adults that they need to find something meaningful for themselves to do. So she used to say, find something meaningful. Okay, as we have said in our earlier sessions, find a purpose, do something that you like, do something for others. Okay, so a meaningful purpose is something that is very necessary in old age. Okay, so after having done that, Dr. Pride realized that only a meaningful purpose is not enough. There are other factors also which older adults crave for or are looking for. And what are these three factors? What are these three things? She said that close relationships with people that they care about, that is important for them in old age. Secondly, satisfying social roles, either in the family, in the community, in the society. So satisfying social roles, that is important for them. And the third thing is that the sense that their lives have value. Okay, so I am important, my life is important, my living is important. Okay, so these are the three things which in general seniors want all over the world. Okay, and these are very important factors which Dr. Fried has mentioned. Now, what is loneliness? Okay, so we have understood what older adults want in general, which Dr. Fried has specified. Okay, so but we need to first of all understand what is this problem. And there's a lot of research, a lot of studies have been done. We just feel, we know what loneliness is. But unless and until we understand it in its depth, we will not be able to, overcome it. We will not be able to understand the ways in which we need to be able to deal with it. Okay, and this problem will persist. Okay, so we need to have a proper understanding of it first, and that is precisely what researchers have done. Okay, so basically loneliness is a complex human emotion which is unique to each individual. Why is it unique to each individual? Because first of all, every situation is different. The way in which each individual will interact will be different from the way another individual reacts to that situation. And thirdly, it all depends on the feeling of the person. Okay, so if I feel that I am lonely in a particular situation, then I am lonely, then I am suffering from loneliness. And it has been time and again said that loneliness does not have to do with, just because I have a lot of social contacts, just because a person is married, or maybe if I have a successful career, or maybe if my social life is very rich, that I will not suffer from loneliness. Okay, so no person is exempt from loneliness. Okay, so there is a wrong belief that just because maybe if I have a lot of friends, if I have a lot of contacts, maybe on Facebook or whatever, or maybe if I'm interacting with a lot of people, and if I'm going for a lot of meetings, then maybe I will not be lonely. but research says just the opposite. And what does research say? That it all depends on the feeling of the person. If I feel that I am lonely, then that person is lonely. Okay, and we will get into it, slide by slide, and we will try and understand this. Okay, so basically, what is loneliness? What are feelings? As I said, it is a feeling which an individual faces. Okay, loneliness are negative feelings of sadness, emptiness, deprivation brought on by there is lack of communication, there is lack of companionship, and there is lack of meaningful relationships with other people. I'm saying meaningful relationships. I'm not saying having a lot of relationships. So having those kind of meaningful relationships is very important. And that is why we might have heard, you might have heard of this very noted psychologist called Carl Jung. So I'm going back to my first slide, which says that loneliness does not come from having no people around, but loneliness comes from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to oneself. So if I am not able to communicate what is important to me, what I value in my life, then I will be lonely. I'll give you a small example. Madam Varsha said, I work with this initiative called Graceful Living, and I'm sure you must have heard Dr. Prem also. So basically, we work on this initiative together, and we offer a service called Companionship. Okay, so where we conduct one-to-one sessions with older adults, we understand their needs, we assess their needs, and we provide services according to the needs and interests of that person. So recently, there was this lady who passed away, unfortunately, and she was around 92. And one of the reasons why her son asked us to provide this service was that this lady was feeling extremely lonely. She had around almost 9 servants in the house, almost 9 servants surrounding her, looking after her needs, and almost 4 family members. But still, she was lonely. So what were they trying to say? That this lady was not able to have a meaningful communication with people who were surrounding her. So if I am not able to communicate things that are important to me, that I value in my life, then I am definitely going to feel lonely. Okay, so it has nothing to do with the amount of contacts that I have. Okay, so as I was saying that there is sadness, emptiness. Why? Because there is a lack of communication, there is a lack of companionship or relationships, meaningful relationships with other people. It can affect anyone. So now it is said that loneliness is a problem amongst young people also, because there is a huge dependency on gadgets. There is a huge dependency on technology. And that is why this problem is there amongst younger people also. But it affects older adults more because they are more vulnerable to feeling lonely because of the circumstances that they are in. And we will look at those circumstances also in brief. Okay, so as I said, loneliness does not depend on how many friends or relationships one has. Generally, people and even older adults are using a lot of technology. You all are on Zoom, and a lot of older adults tell us, हमारे इतने contacts हैं, so Facebook पे, हम लोग Instagram पे भी जाते हैं, WhatsApp पे हम लोग constantly communicate करते हैं. But just because you are on social media does not mean that you are not going to face this issue of loneliness. Okay, so it does not depend on how many friends or how many relationships one has. Okay, so there's a lot of research which has been done on what are the symptoms to look out for when a person is feeling lonely. Okay, and it was interesting for me to kind of look at these symptoms and understand these symptoms, and I'm going to put that forward in front of all of you. Okay, so what are these symptoms? Okay, so the first symptom is these older adults, because they want to distract themselves, and also because I want to cover up the fact that I am feeling lonely, that I am craving for meaningful connection. I am always surrounded by people. Okay, always surrounded by people, constantly having a lot of friends, people always coming to my place, but still that craving for meaningful connection is there, and hence that feeling of loneliness does not go away. So if I am always surrounded by people, but still I am craving for, I'm craving, or maybe there is lack of, connection with other people, then a person is suffering from loneliness if the person feels that, I am feeling lonely. Okay, so always being surrounded by people. Second thing is, um, always being surrounded by people, there is this, actors, and it is said, it was said in the research, this also, that, actors basically are always surrounded by people, and they are people whom other people always appreciate. Okay, or, they are always looking for good comments. They're always looking for good comments from other people. Okay, so the minute the minute they either lose that fame, or maybe they have time for themselves, they don't know what to do. Okay, so these people, although they might be surrounded by people all the time, if they are maybe made to be alone for some point of time, they will be extremely uncomfortable. Why? Because this feeling of loneliness will come up, and they do not want to deal with it. Okay, so always being surrounded by people. Second is, because I don't know how to, how to deal with this craving or need for social connection which I have. Just because I'm not able to do it, what will I do in order to cover that up? I will be obsessed with acquiring stuff. So a lot of people hoard things. So there is this, a lot of older adults have this tendency to hoard. Hoard as in, just keep on collecting stuff. डिस्काउंट में मिल रहा है तो just keep on collecting stuff irrespective of whether I like it or no. Okay, so basically, why? Because they are trying to fill the void, the vacuum that is there in their lives. So how am I filling that up? How am I covering that up? By just buying things which I might not need. Okay, the third thing is, they might be exhausted by the effort of reaching out. Okay, so basically, we are saying that loneliness is a compounding problem. And the more chronically lonely you are, the less energy you are going to have. And it is going to be harder for you to form meaningful connections. So, making you even more lonelier. And this downward, never ending downward spiral which is there will continue. Okay, so when I try and make new connections, I am going to feel exhausted, thinking that, okay, no one cares for me, no one is going to reach out to me, no one is going to respond to me. So I'm exhausted by the effort of reaching out, and by the time I make some kind of an effort, I'm already tired. So they're exhausted by the effort of reaching out. So these are the some symptoms which I, if I'm lonely, have to look for in myself, or maybe we can help other people who are feeling lonely to look for these symptoms within themselves. Always online or connected. And generally, research has said that the more you should try and take yourselves a little away from technology. Okay, so constantly, just liking certain things, or maybe putting your photos on Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp or whatever, will not fulfill this need for human interaction. Okay, so these people are constantly online and constantly connected, thinking that their loneliness will be covered up, that they will not, they will not need to deal with this issue of loneliness that is there within them. Okay, so I'm just trying to cover it up, use these things, use these mechanisms in order to not deal with my issue of loneliness. because I feel that other people are not going to respond to me. I feel that other people uh, uh, don't care about me. I will be easily stressed out by minor incidents. So I will be irritated. I will feel that all these minor incidents, whatever, they will cause stress in me. I will feel that no one is responding to me. So every small thing that I do, if things are going against me, or if I'm not able to, people don't respond to me the way I want them to, then definitely every small thing is going to irritate me. Okay, generally we want things or people to behave in the way we want them to. And I remember this saying which Harivansh Rai Bachchan ji always used to tell Amitabh Bachchan, and this always Mr. Amitabh Bachchan shares in his show Kaun Banega Karodpati. So always, whenever Amitabh Bachchan used to go to his father saying that things are not working out, there's a lot of stress and whatever. So Harivansh Rai Bachchan ji used to tell him that मन की हो तो अच्छा, ना हो तो और भी अच्छा. मतलब if something happens according to me or in my favor, it is good. But if it does not happen in the way I want it to, it is all the more good. Why? Because then I will be forced to act in ways, or maybe God kind of wants that things should not be in my favor, and then what God wants them in a particular way. So basically, what I'm saying is that I will be easily stressed out by minor incidents, because I feel that people are not going to respond, people are going to get angry, people do not want me, and people do not value me. So I will get irritated, I will get stressed out. Okay, the other, this is whenever I'm feeling lonely, there is a reputation that I might have of being very aloof. And if someone says that I'm aloof, I will get extremely defensive. Arey, I'm not aloof. I always try and, bond with people. I always try and go out and interact with people. So I will not accept the fact that I am aloof. I will constantly be on the defensive, saying that I don't have all these symptoms. Okay, so all these are not problems with me. Okay, so all these are symptoms wherein a person tries to cover up the fact that I am feeling lonely. Okay, and if really I'm facing the issue of loneliness, then I need to kind of look at these issues. If I'm really doing all these things, then I need to look inward and see where I'm going wrong or where the problem lies. Okay, so research has said that there are other, there are a lot of health impacts which have been given, which I will not go into, because that is something that maybe we can cover at some other point, and maybe Dr. Prem can also cover regarding what are the outcomes, physical outcomes, health outcomes that loneliness can bring about in a person. Okay, so level, there are three important factors regarding how a person who is feeling lonely will feel. And this is again research has said. Okay, so the first important factor is the level of vulnerability to social connection. Okay, so research is saying that genetically we all have a set need for social inclusion, and this level of need is different for each person. Okay, so this level of vulnerability, this need for social inclusion, okay, and this has been going right from the beginning. Even in history, we have seen that people have always lived in groups, and if maybe I do not go by the norms or the rules that a particular group has set, then that person will be ostracized. And I do not want to be ostracized. I do not want to feel that social pain of being ostracized. So basically, every human being, okay, so like we have, the basic needs of food, clothing, shelter. So this is also a part of our biology. So this is also a basic need to be socially included, to interact or to bond with other people. Okay, so everyone has a set need for social inclusion, which will be different for every person. Okay, and if this level of need is not fulfilled, then the person is going to feel vulnerable. Okay, so this level of vulnerability differs from person to person. So if I have a high need for connection or social connections, then it will be difficult for me to meet those needs, and then this level of vulnerability will be high. Okay, so these three important factors are there regarding how a person feels, when he's feeling lonely. So level of vulnerability. The second, this is ability to self-regulate the emotions with feeling socially isolated. Okay, so what does this mean? That loneliness, maybe it continues over a period of time. Okay, so people have, there are times when every human being will feel somewhat lonely. Okay, so but if this continues over a period of time, then that is called chronic loneliness. Okay, and if this chronic loneliness, as I said, if loneliness, this feeling of being lonely continues over time, then it can become a source of chronic upset. And if I'm chronically upset with the fact that I'm feeling lonely, then how I am going to manage these feelings of being lonely is extremely important. Okay, so basically, how I manage these feelings in the sense, what is my ability to self regulate the emotions related to being socially isolated? So, a person can become extremely depressed if they are lonely. Some kind of an action plan. I must kind of join this group, or maybe think of solutions. So my ability to self-regulate the emotions is extremely important. And if I am extremely upset, I am definitely going to feel very, very depressed, and it will have a high impact on me, and I will not be able to regulate the emotions that are there related to being socially isolated. The third important factor is the mental representations and expectations. The mental representations the mental representations and expectations of others, of aspects, as well as reasoning about others. Okay, so there are certain things which I am expecting from other people. Okay, so there are certain expectations which are there, and these expectations, if they are not going to get fulfilled, then definitely I am going to have a problem with that. I will not be able to self regulate the emotions, and I will definitely be more vulnerable. Okay, so basically what we are trying to say is that it depends from person to person, and that is why each and every person has to look inward, has to understand this feeling of loneliness that is there, and understand how it can be dealt with. Okay, research is also saying that there is a purpose of loneliness. They are saying it's not all bad. Okay, so basically they are saying that it serves as a social pain
Nah.
to protect people from the dangers of being isolated. Okay, so there is a purpose also which loneliness serves. Okay, so I do not want to feel lonely. I do not want to get separated from other people. So the social pain, I want to avoid the social pain that is related to loneliness, and hence I will try and change my behavior. I will pay more attention to relationships, and I will try and form more meaningful connections with others. So this social pain which I'm feeling will prompt me, will encourage me to form meaningful bonds with other people. Okay, so this is for people maybe who are feeling lonely. I mean lonely. I mean sometimes. Okay, and we will also come to the degrees of loneliness. So they are saying that loneliness is not always negative. It can motivate people to form connections with people. And because I do not want to, feel the social pain, I will also adjust to circumstances in my life which generally happen in old age. Like maybe there might be the death of a spouse, there might be death of family members or friends, or maybe serious illnesses that I might have. So I will adjust to that because I do not want other people to move away from me, or I always want good relations or meaningful relations with other people. Okay, so basically, loneliness can have a meaningful purpose also. That is what research is saying. Okay, now the root causes of loneliness. Okay, there's a lot of research which has been done, and basically, they are saying that there is a perception that other people have rejected you or that they don't care about you. And if I feel that other person has rejected me or that other person doesn't care about me, I will not make efforts to bond with other people at all. So if maybe two or three people have rejected me, I will feel what is the use? I am basically unworthy. Okay, so why should I make efforts to gel with other people also? So generally people reject me. So basically what happens is the perceptions that I have regarding how people are responding to me also get distorted. Okay, so it is a perception. We don't know whether really that person has rejected you or no. If you really go and ask that person whether that person has rejected me or no, maybe that person might not have that answer. That person might not have rejected you, but I perceive that this person has rejected me. Okay, so sometimes what happens is maybe we are going on a road, we are walking on the road, and suppose our neighbor or maybe my very good friend is walking on the road also, and he or she does not notice me at all. So what am I going to feel? Oh, she has not noticed me. She does not feel that I'm important, or how could she do that? Either I'm going to feel angry, or maybe I'm going to feel that that person does not consider me important, or that person does not value me. Okay, so but that person might have a lot of other things on his mind. Maybe that person is under a lot of stress. Maybe there are a lot of adverse circumstances that the person is facing in his or her life. So we don't take all those things into consideration, and that is why the way other people look at me, I have my own perceptions regarding that. Okay, so there is this perception that other people have rejected you. That may not be a fact. Okay, so this perceived rejection, it reinforces isolation. So two people have rejected me, three people have rejected me, so other people will also reject me. Okay, so again I'm giving this example of Amitabh Bachchan because I just kind of thought of it, is that I think Amitabh Bachchan, before he gave a hit, he had at least 7 to 8 flops. Okay, so actors basically have to face a lot of rejection in their lives, and that can be extremely difficult. So they have these things of stardom, but along with that, that rejection can also be there. And this rejection can reinforce a lot of isolation. Okay, another important this regarding the cause of loneliness is maladaptive social cognition. Okay, so what is maladaptive social cognition? It is the distrust of other people. Okay, so distrust. These people will not be able to like me. They feel that I am unworthy, and because of that, there will be a lot of negativity within me. And I will expect that just because this one group is rejecting me, I feel that why should I go and interact with other groups, because I will expect that other groups will also reject me. So basically, maladaptive social cognition, that means the way other people perceive me. Cognition is my way of thinking. social is how I am with other people, or maybe interaction with other people. And maladaptive is something, which is not adaptive. Okay, so something maybe which is not working for you. Okay, so these feelings which are there in my mind, and generally, there was a story which had come in Time magazine, and it said that till recently, it had come in 2010, I think, and till recently, they always said that when it comes to loneliness, the kind of interventions have to do with trying to connect lonely people with having more social interactions. So that is how they try to have these experiments. They felt that if I am feeling lonely, that means I need to have more meaningful social interactions. But recent research has said that you have to first look inward, and these feelings of unworthiness, these feelings of negativity which are there within me, I need to be able to deal with that first, and only then will I be able to meaningfully bond with other people. So this maladaptive social cognition which is there, that needs to be dealt with first. Okay, why? Because again and again we are saying that this is an individual problem. This is a perception problem. Okay, so I perceive that other people do not like me. I perceive that other people are rejecting me. I perceive that other people are not valuing me. So unless and until I work myself on those feelings, these feelings are going to continue irrespective of thousand groups that you put me in touch with. Okay, so relationships which might be disappointing, where your trust might have been betrayed, or you feel that you have not been accepted. So all these are root causes of loneliness. Another problem which is there is hearing loss, and we know that hearing loss is a disability which a lot of older adults have. And when they try to understand in the UK, when they try to understand one of the main causes of loneliness, one of the interventions which the minister suggested was that people in the UK need to have hearing aids on a free basis. So they need to have free hearing aids. Why? Because if you have this problem of hearing loss, then how will you interact with people? How will you bond with people? How will you go out? What will you talk? Okay, so that is why hearing loss is another major problem which leads to loneliness. So causes of loneliness in old age, first we try to look at what are the root causes, and then we are looking at what are the causes of loneliness in old age. So retirement is one major problem, and research has basically said that in the first 2 years after a person retires, the rate of people, the mortality in the people who have retired is definitely much more than in later years. Why? Because this shock which is there of trying to fill up the time, the a lot of time which they generally get after retirement. So if you have not thought about it in your earlier years, then maybe retirement can be like a shock if you have not made any preparation for it. So retirement is one important cause. Bereavement, say suppose there is death of your near and dear ones, friends, spouse, and that can cause loneliness in old age, lack of friends or companions. And because of ill health, because of poor physical health, this uh, ability to go and form relationships with people, go out, maybe go to either groups, associations, for meetings, meeting other people. So this tendency, or maybe this opportunity to form new relationships, is curtailed. Okay, other main causes of loneliness, location. So you might be living at a place which might be a bit far off, and that is why you might not be able to connect with other people, but now that is not too much of a problem because through net connection and technology you are able to kind of interact with people all over the world. Okay, so and financial difficulty. So if I feel that I don't have enough money, I don't have enough resources, then maybe I might not be able to go for a meeting. So all these financial difficulties also can be lead to loneliness in old age. Okay, so another important this is degrees of loneliness. So people are sometimes lonely or people who are always lonely. So people who are sometimes lonely can get in and out of this state of loneliness. But people who are always lonely is something that is termed as chronic loneliness. And this is something which is very, very detrimental and can cause a lot of physical and mental health issues. And they say that chronic loneliness is so detrimental or it is fatal to the extent it is so harmful that it is as bad as having 15 cigarettes a day. So chronic loneliness is extremely harmful to a person's health, and that is why they have been talking about loneliness, and that is why a lot of research has been done on loneliness. And they have said that ill effects of loneliness, understanding loneliness, what are the causes of loneliness needs to be taught to doctors also. It needs to be included in the medical curriculum because dealing with loneliness and understanding loneliness is as important to one's lifestyle as maybe your diet, proper sleep, exercise, and how to form meaningful social connections. So it is extremely important, and they have said that it needs to be included in the curriculum also. Okay, so I'll just go on to there are types of loneliness, and Dr. Linda Fried, as I said, very noted geriatrician, has said that if I understand the type of loneliness that I am suffering from, then I will be able to deal with it well, and people will be able to formulate interventions regarding what can be done to deal with that particular loneliness. खाली लोनली है बोल के नहीं चलेगा. कौन से प्रकार का लोनलीनेस है, that is extremely important. So first, this is emotional loneliness. Okay, so emotional. So basically, I'm not able to connect. I'm not able to voice out, or I'm not able to share what things are important for me. I'm not able to share my emotions, whether I'm feeling happy, if I'm feeling sad, if I'm feeling angry. So that is emotional loneliness. Social loneliness is maybe when I'm not able to connect to a group. So I'm trying to maybe, connect with a senior citizen association or a seniors group, or I feel this group is not accepting me. So that is social loneliness. The third, this is collective loneliness. So maybe in my community where I live, if I feel that this whole group of people is not accepting me, so that is collective loneliness in my own community, in my society. If I feel that I'm not being accepted by this particular association, then I'm feeling lonely collectively. So that is collective loneliness. The fourth important aspect is existential loneliness. So, what is existential loneliness? It means I am dealing with, or I am not able to understand, or I'm feeling lonely because I'm not able to get answers to the questions that why am I born? What is the purpose of my life? What should I be doing with my life? What good have I done in my life? Has my life been important? Have I been of value? So these are existential questions that I might have. Okay, and that is why if I understand what type of loneliness I am facing, then proper interventions can be made regarding dealing with that particular type of loneliness. Or maybe existential loneliness, what is my purpose in life? And I've always said that a lot of homemakers generally, or maybe even people who are working in my earlier years, don't think about what I am going to do in my retirement years. So don't think of, I don't think about it. Dekh lenge, I just want to enjoy, just go here, there, whatever, just I just want to have a good time. That's all. But if you are going to live maybe 30 or 40 years after getting retired, you cannot enjoy for 30 or 40 years. You need to have some plan. You need to think about some purpose, or maybe something constructive which I'm going to do in my with my leisure time that I have. So if you think about all these things, then maybe existential loneliness which can come about can be kept at bay. Okay, so quickly I'll just go on to how do we overcome loneliness. Okay, so basically acknowledging it first. That is the very first thing. And that is why understanding the symptoms, that is why understanding what loneliness is extremely important. First, I have to acknowledge that it is there. And there is nothing to be ashamed about it. Generally, people feel that maybe I have failed socially. I have failed. And that is why I don't need to acknowledge it within me. And that is why I think of all these pillars, like having a lot of people around me, having a lot of stuff around me, getting connected on social media, constantly being on the phone. So if I am really feeling lonely, I need to acknowledge it first. Okay, so researchers have said second thing is that we need to take a mental stock of the extent to which one is isolated. Okay, so I need to take a mental stock. Okay, and loneliness, basically I need to make efforts first before you expect others to do something for you. I need to make efforts to understand what it is. Okay, and the third thing they have said that expanding not just our connections but expanding our circle of concern. So if you are going to show concern for other people, then definitely those kind of feelings will also be reciprocated. Okay, so expanding our circle of concern is extremely important. Connecting in real life. So connecting, going and meeting people, and maybe, trying to establish authentic relationships. And this is what is important, authentic, not just for the sake of it, where you can be your real self. Okay, so basically supporting others also is extremely important. If you feel that people are not supporting, if you and you need to express that, okay, I am feeling lonely, or okay, I need someone to listen to what I have to say. So if you can also support others, and when you are going to support others, that is going to be extremely satisfying for you. Another important thing which researchers have said is even talking to strangers, understanding what their life stories are, is also extremely important. Okay, so basically trying to understand rather than just talking about myself, I need to understand what issues or what problems other people are also facing. And these days we say that, if we have to connect with people, we just need to give them a ear. Ear as in listen to what problems they are going through. Okay, so talking to strangers is also extremely, it can make you feel good. Okay, so share for real online, not just for the sake of it. Stop focusing on me alone. I'm feeling this and I'm feeling that. Focus on other people also. Okay, the next list is generate a sense of awe, curiosity, and this generally dies down in old age. I'm genuinely not curious about why this is happening, why that is happening. And I mean, there is this ad which is there and on television, which talks about, why does the sun come in the morning? Basic questions. Why does it rain? So do we really know the answers to these questions? Are we able to, if there is a small child who is asking us answers to these questions, do we think that we are able to answer them properly and with full and proper knowledge? Curiosity which is there generally dies down. So if I maintain this sense of curiosity, then these feelings of loneliness can also be dealt with. Spend money not just on stuff. spend money on experiences. Say maybe going for a cinema. If I like going for plays, then maybe spend money on experiences rather than just on things. That's what I'm saying. Paying attention to things that matter. So if I'm really feeling lonely, then I need to pay attention to those things rather than just covering it up, or maybe getting distracted, or maybe just trying to deny that or ignore that feeling which is there within me. Other thing is, create a vision board regarding what I want to do with my life. What relationships do I want to build? Okay, so volunteer remotely or in real life. And volunteering has been said to have, great effects. I mean, great mental health benefits for older adults. Self-compassion, being nice to myself, that is also extremely important. So understanding myself, why these feelings are there within me is extremely important. So in short, introspection, connection, and interaction are the three major things. So introspection is extremely important. Understanding the kind of loneliness that I'm going through, why it is happening, understanding the root cause, and also then trying to see how opportunities for meaningful interactions can be provided. Okay, so thank you very much. I've just tried to put forward a lot of research findings which are there regarding loneliness. So I thank you all for listening to me very, very patiently. Thank you.